reason for me to come up with data science was definitely an eye-opener, because when I saw INSOFE and I was looking for to join classes, because I'm a non-programmer. As you know, architecture have no programming skills, and to get and understand the data, I was looking into a place wherein I've been taught from scratch. So when I approached INSOFE and various other institute, because definitely it's a high cost course, more than my architecture and masters I had provided for this course. So definitely I had taken 3 quotations, I did negotiations, and it was about 3 years now when I completed this course. So a lot of discussions happening. The reason to select INSOFE is, firstly, it was an face-to-face classes. It was a weekend classes because I was working that time with L&D, and you know it's not easy to work in such a challenging field wherein we need to deliver projects on time. So Saturday, Sunday was what the classes were, and trust me, I think the weekends were more tied up compared to the regular classes. Apart from that, when I joined in, a lot of BD guys approach me saying that yes, it will be challenging, it won't be that easy because I'm a non-programmer. But I think I spoke to Dr. Murthy, who gave me the right path. He was the one who said that yes, person like me definitely had opportunities to work on data, because our industry has a lot of data, and how we can predict from the data was more important. So, and when I was looking for an international qualification, I was offered from University College London, Bartlett, which is the top-rated university similar to Oxford. And when I was looking into to do something with architecture, that is where it clicked me about geospatial data science. So before approaching into that field of data science, I need to be a data scientist. So to me, to get trained with statistics, and the platform was provided by INSOFE, and definitely it was a 6 months thorough training, thorough classes, wherein we had again a lot of hackathons and a lot of challenges across. But I was lucky with a good team that I was working with. I had a good set of friends with me, because more than the teachers, we learned working with friends, and it was a really fun journey. My journey in UCL, when I was doing my post graduation, it was not easy because it was not that trained as compared to INSOFE. Trust me, doing an international qualification from the prestigious university, what demanding we see in INSOFE, what support we get in INSOFE with our faculties, with our other friends, it's not that compared to our other countries, I would say, because my friends were all Chinese and Europeans, and coordinating with them and trying to understand what we have actually understood about data science. And in Sophie, going through this journey was definitely a thorough experience. So yes, so with that, Nitika, I would say it was a really good experience that I had gone through. And now being a geospatial data science, I thought I would definitely like to share my experience with non-IT and support them, because what I have done is I have done on smart cities and urban analytics. So smart cities inclined me because of our Modi government, wherein we were coming up with 100 smart cities. Definitely the process is really raw compared to the Western cities, what's happening presently. But I would say that smart cities is what is all about geospatial. So in today's talk, I will be taking through geospatial, some use cases, how actually the data is generated, and what is the main focus about it. So that will be all about my presentation today.
Nice, nice, Jyothi. So before moving ahead with the presentation, we would also like to know, like, how is your typical day as a geospatial data scientist? What kind of work is involved on your day-to-day routine?
So we work on various datas in an industry. We are supposed to tackle this big data set, and data pre-processing definitely is a big task for us to work on. So whether it's geospatial or data, as you know, geospatial is nothing but a subset of data science. So data pre-processing is a main task, more of statistics. What kind of categorical data? Should we dumbify it? Should we bin it? Dropping the NA values. So these are the basic sets. And when all clean data is prepared, we need to install GeoPandas and couple of other visualization packages and work on it, or we need to have shape files incorporated with our ArcGIS and try to see the location based mapping. I will be telling you about the few cases that I did in London, but I would definitely love to share my experience. And I have also published 2 papers about my dissertation, what I done on scaling laws, about how I was trying to see retail modeling, the distance between a distance between and the distance between the retail modeling in sense like what is the distance that you take to travel to a retail mall and how that can be shortest path, the recommendation to the company, what is the preferred and what is the prediction of how many users may come into the mall because of the location. So these were the few questions that we were supposed to answer as a geospatial data analysis.
Great, great. So we shall start with the presentation now. And Jyothi, in between, the audience might have questions which they will write into the chat box. So if you would like to take a pause in between, completing some sections and then take a look at questions, you can do. Or towards the end of the presentation, we can go through all the questions. And last question, but you can answer it afterwards. We will start the presentation. We would really like to hear from a non-programming background, how did you master in programming? How difficult or easy it was for you, and what extra efforts you have done? So students here who are from non-programming background, it can help them. Some tips or suggestions which you have done for yourself, so you can then share maybe towards the end of the presentation.
Sure, we'll do that.
Right. So if you have anything to present, Jyothi, I have given you the access. You can share your screen and show us the presentation.
Sure. So you're able to see my screen.
Yes, Jyothi.
So just to start about spatial data science, what we are talking about, it is a subset of data science. So it focuses on the unique characteristic of spatial data. Basically, we are looking to understand what happens on the location, on the distance and spatial interaction. To take further the main challenges that we all face, it's how we shape the data in order to fit tools and systems. What is the integrating workflow and systems in analytical applications? How the geospatial visualization and analysis at scale in order to understand what is the different location, what is the shortest path that we need to take, and finally what is the result that the customer is facing, and what can that be a next level of interaction or prediction. So it's a massive platform that you all know. We work with, when I was doing my internship in London with Beeline, wherein we were working on BigQuery that is similar to SQL of Google. We were getting the data of the cycling people, and we were trying to integrate that with our Python in order to use geospatial modeling. So end of the day, what we need the big data that is from the SQL server. We need the Python to do the programming in order to have the basic 4 aspects like streaming the analytics, like what is the live streaming that's happening? How is the user moving in central London? Where is the peak points where we can intimidate the user that further, if you access, it will be blocked? What is a traffic management that can be used? The interactive dashboard that can be discovered and presented in front of the panel, in front of the management, in order to understand the ad hoc analysis, the spatio-thermal visualization and computation, that is the final output of spatial analytics. And last but not the least is about the data science acceleration, how we try to take the data science and plays a major role in scaling of geospatial analytics. So the three main use cases in the telco industry. First is the network reliability and the design optimization of how the detection is being continued. What is the mobile data that we are tracking and getting the data from? What is the customer experience that we are handling? What kind of monitoring of network and quality is being considered? It's very important to understand the prediction of the chunk analysis, whether it's capital planning or to understand the architecture of the complete industry. That's more important. And henceforth, the 5G has been rolled out. To just keep in mind why actually a spatial analysis is being done, it's for smart cities. So that is how a smart cities is being the main focus of the present industry. I have done a couple of presentation on smart cities, what is the present scenario, what is the ongoing progress, and where you see yourself in 2030. There are few slides in my YouTube channel and further things, so that if you're really keen on understanding what actually the industry is facing, we can look forward for that. The industry, which we can talk about, telematic industry, whether it is driving safety, the behavior monitoring. As we all know, I think, and in INSOFE, we have gone through a lot of examples with regard to autonomous vehicles and how the vehicles plays a major role. The data driven, that's the development that we are looking forward for, and what is the delivery that we are facing. So I would like to tell you how the data is being created, how the data is being captured knowingly, unknowingly, how people like data scientists, geospatial data scientists can collect the data and see the prediction of the present scenario, how the public transportation plays a major role, what is the safety analysis, the parking lots, the public venues, the pedestrian safety. In London, in central London, UCL, where I have graduated, we have a team of people working on London tube data, in order, Oyster card data, in order to analyze and find out what is the major challenges the public is facing and what is the security measures that we need to be considering. The smart meter. Smart meter in an industry, for example, if I take construction industry, how the meters is being tabulated, what are the fraud is being captured, how the electrical meter or a smart grid is being created in the connectivity. For example, in Singapore, there is a layout that's been created by Panasonic, and also in Japan, wherein they have created a smart city in order to connect each and every residence, and also the mobility of how the customers are being tracked, how are they monitored, and what is the reduction that's been seen in various aspects. So these are the smart meters, the use of smart meter that's being taken care. The LiDAR data, if you're all aware, how the satellite data is being considered, the density mapping of the vegetation was one of the example. Lastly, the gas analysis, how the well performance is being considered in the complete analysis of the use case. To start up with the spatial object, the geospatial function, What are we really talking about? I have a small demo to explain you how we actually work on spatial data and how we understand the various statistics. So this presentation is being presented with the help of Power BI software, wherein we have ArcGIS incorporated with the existing data. If you look at the panel front of you, the top three pan have been depicted with this 4 Hong Kong data. The first is the TUT data. The second is the VCSR data. Second is the history or the summary of the data. And finally is the crowdsourced data. If you see the quantity that's been measured, what kind of data is being attributed, and what is the different aspects of mapping it's being considered. So this is one of the vendors, the contractors, that's the Omni Sky, who works on these kind of data. The contractors work on how the tuning data is being analyzed of each and every network. See, if one data is being amended or changed, there is a lot of devices that can have an impact in the present scenario. If you look on the left side, the present number of devices that's been available is about 192,000, with the unique towers, which is about 12,000 and 12,300 towers. And the various crowdsourcing data, it's also having the cell site routers, which is about 2,000. This is the Hong Kong map. If you notice, if you click on any of these geospatial map, we can amend or find out the location of each and every data points of how the network, of how the tower, of how a customer and how the social media is being tracked, and what is the various aspects of data that is being generated. So I thought to just show you this presentation can help you to identify how the spatial analytics, how from the GIS plays a major role. Definitely, we will go through of how this is being generated, but this is a small example wherein if you see the color variations on the tabs and also on the plot on the right side, my right side, which shows the latency and the through outlet of what actually the growth is, where we can see there is a pitch seen in the plot, where are the outliers, if there are any, we can identify with this the simple latency and throughput rates. The records of the tweet time that's been mentioned in the down plot also helps us to identify what time, what duration has more number of tweets being published. So this also helps us to predict, to understand, to take the process into a different level. In order for you to understand how this records of the tweet time is being captured, it's very important for us to go through each and every data point, and we can analyze and question if there is any study needs to be incorporated. Just see this example wherein I will try to see the latitude and longitude of one location, and you will notice how there is a major change in the dashboard. If you notice on the top left, when I select only one place, I identify which layout I need to consider. This is how the geospatial analytics plays a major role with ArcGIS. If I want to select, I'm buffering one zone. I'm trying to identify what is really happening, why that zone is being red alerted. Should we really sit and go through the trips and collision? This is how the variation is being seen, whether it's in the below chart, whether you can see how the map box is being connected to identify, yes, there is a record. What is the duration that has been mapped? What is the average MPS? What is the miles driven? What is the number of trips that they have been considered? So just to go ahead, what is geospatial? So with the example that I've shown you, what actually we are really talking about, whether it's public or private, it talks about data injection and management, data enrichment, data analysis, the solution which is visually represented, and finally it is integrated. It is measured with various geometry and geography that we will be going through in detail. Like now, if you're doing a spatial object, what is the geometry? What is the coordinates which is expressed in the geometry? How it is defined by their planes? What kind of calculation is being seen with these kind of coordinates? Whether it is a projection or it is a plane, the computation needs to be done. So this is what we have achieved. So in geography, so in geospatial, we talk about geography. So it is about the coordinates of how we measure in degree and what is the calculation that's being seen in meters. So the spatial classes that we work on, which is different from data, it's a subset of data science, is the pointing the data, the multi-point data, the link string, the multi-string, and finally the polygon of what actually the data is all about. Let me take an example. I won't go in detail, but it is one of the geospatial real-time data of Vertica, wherein the geospatial data is being considered. So like I don't want to repeat this again, but data is the new oil of this century. So this is being demarcated in most of the publications, and this is what most of the talk is all about. What is a spatial join? We basically calculate the density, the number of users in that zip code, the pin code, or the number of customers existing in the retail store. So in this kind of geospatial, we usually go with the use of shape files, GeoPanda files, and various other files which needs to be converted into the data. When we understand what actually the data is coming from, what is the feature engineering, and finally, what is the recommendation. So we need to basically find out the locations of the golf player, where is it located, what is the different tables that's available. As you know, it's States and Canada. What is the projection that's available? What is the Canada table, the mobile users? Finally, the golf locations in the mapping. How should we proceed with this kind of question? We need to find the data available for us, whether it's mobile data, how we can collect the data. We need to collect the location data, the polygons, the points, the geospatial, and also the clustering of the data. The polygon data can have comparatively, if you notice, into different attributes. If you know this is a multi-polygon holes that is existing in the time zone. So we need to work on that aspect so that there won't be any differences. So in GIS, the time zone, the projection, and the coordinates plays a major role, and we need to be very careful about what we are actually achieving. So when we have a timestamp data, how we are trying to see the pointing of the data, what is the distance available? Definitely pre-processing, removing of null values, removing of the repeated values, which is really not required. What is the count is achievable? The lesser the data, the better the result can be, because again, it depends on what answer I'm going to get. And finally, mapping to the correct UTI, as I said, the location, the projection, and the coordinates should not be a mismatch because it will have an impact. Finally, when we have the closure of the problem about how we are trying to solve it, whether it is by the location or by the coordinates of the system. So we need to try to see the shortest path available. We need to see what is the present existing mapping of the site and what is the final output that's been achieved. So whether it's a total distance, the moving between one stop to another stop, what is the tendency of movement, what is the computation between the locations, and finally, what is the GPS latitude and longitude that have a major impact in a location like Canada. So these are few of the steps that's been incorporated, whether we are using moving windows to compute different features, or we are using a conditional event to separate different locations in order to stay in that night, or we are trying to solve a problem which has its own parameters, and are we really tuning it in order to get a better accuracy. Lastly, the variable which needs to find out what actually is existing and where we have more number of people available. The final answer, I would say the accuracy we could be identified with the help of an elbow curve, where how many number of clusters we are achieving. So in our case, we have 2 clusters where we identify, and that is how we come up with a conclusion. We need to build a story and present it to our management of how these golf players in that location is being identified and what is the prediction of more players in the golf place. So what is the skills required for geospatial or spatial data science? I have a small transition things I thought to present you about. This was a study by Mr. Jason, wherein they have done a mapping of various transition, if you all see, of various projections. So this is an equirectangle of how the projection is being seen and what is a different transition in a map projection. So this is the most commonly used Robinson. I would be sharing this link also so that you can also play with these kind of map projection, because definitely this is a very new field of spatial data science. And as I said, the methodology is same, the problem solving is same, the hypothesis is same, but the results that we find, it's more theoretical, it is more visualized, and it is use of different softwares. So what is spatial analysis all about? The different platform that we have used is Cartography, ArcGIS and QGIS are the most used platform for spatial analysis. Python is definitely used. Panda, it's godfather, wherein we use GeoPanda for spatial data science. In R, we usually go with ggplot, SF, SP, RD, GL. Shiny app, I would say it is most, I would say it's the best app used. It's a library in R, which is very useful in spatial data. And Tableau is there. Power BI, it's not there in the list, but it's a good kind of visualization in a geospatial. So this is what a good cartography is all about. It's the Earth's surface and the near surface on it. So I was along with a team of experts in UCL, Mr. Mike Betty, who was trying to understand the movement of the citizen in London and what is the peak value, how we can give a better living for the public with a better safety. So that is how he was trying to use geospatial data science. So as I said, spatial analysis is nothing but GIS with both geographic and non-geographic space. It is about geospatial, which is a subset of a spatial applied on the Earth's surface and the near future. Finally, spatial analytics is all about the Earth, which is more on the 3D view and how we have a good representation. So this is a small study of how Hamburg, in one of the Chinese organization, had done the study of the movement of the public and how this analysis was tracked and how we can use this kind of data in various studies. So that's more important. And also, if you are really keen on to how to study this shape files, the data is available in the National Statistics of UK, so that we should just enter our credentials to log in and download the data. As an academia, we have an opportunity to work on it and to have a better understanding of what actually the data is and what we can really work on. So geospatial data, or the GIS, is basically a problem solving about asking a question. That what a usual study goes on, doing the background research, that is that is about the literature study, constructing a hypothesis, testing an experiment whether it's going to work. Well and good, we will have a data analysis. If it's not working, we need to rework on a question, come up with the hypothesis, and then go back in order to get data conclusions. To finally get the results and communicate, it's not necessary of what are we asking. It is the procedure, it is the path that we follow to give the result. So GIS is nothing to ask about a question of a spatial element, which place, how far, what is the route, which area does it belong to, and what is the distance available. That is all about geospatial. Further, it could be finally being presented with the concentration of what is actually happening, the information, that is the raw data that we have with us, and we can analyze it, tune it in order to work on the GIS module in various countries. We can also study in order to see what is the positive and the negative of the data that's being represented, the additional knowledge that we have gathered of how we have reduced the exposure with a high concentration, and finally in order to achieve the result. So with this, I would conclude saying that we have more data. Definitely data is what is everywhere. Data in order to have a more advanced information system, a faster, more efficient hardware and software, a better visualization techniques, the capabilities involved, a larger community wherein we address a spatial problem, and finally, it's nothing but the same what Mr. John Snow had discovered 150 years ago. We are still addressing it in a different and a more sophisticated way. So with this, I would like to conclude. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jyothi. I must say that you have given a very, detailed and in such a easy language. You have explained to us what geospatial data science is, with all the pictures and graphs. They, made the understanding very easy. Thank you once again. So now we will open the forum for question answers. Guys, if you have any questions for Jyothi, please write in chat box so that she can read and answer. And Jyothi, as I mentioned in the start of the presentation, will it be possible for you to just share your experience on programming? How did you learn it or enhance your programming skill, since you do not come from the programming background? And mostly students, they fear that if we are not good in programming, then data science, or we won't be able to get good data science roles. Obviously, they have to practice, but some tips, suggestions, if you can give.
Sure. So I'm a non-programmer, and I am from batch 39. And most of my batchmates, if you meet, I think I can see a couple of them in the class also today. They will know that I'm not that good in programming, because the question I used to ask in the class was so general. Because people who I was sharing my seat were all experts, and I, being a non-programmer, definitely I was hesitant. I was losing my confidence sitting in front of them, but I never lost my hope. I went on practicing. I would say practicing makes man perfect. Learning from your errors and what we can achieve, definitely also keep updating, try to publish an article, study, and have a more because what we are what we study in INSOFE or UCL or any master program will just give you, they will just present you concepts in different platform. It's our duty to go in depth and see how actually we have achieved that, because end of the day what's actually presented is also from a scratch. Nothing is built in a day. So I would say everything should go with practice. It's not difficult programming. I would say, because I am also a faculty in Christ and Impact and Jane, wherein I'm teaching machine learning using R and Python. You trust me, if I, when I was in 2017 doing, sitting around in INSOFE and learning that, and now when I'm teaching them, I can see how I have improved myself. So I think days by day, with the practice, man perfect. So, and
Sure.
yep, that's it.
Truly, truly well said, Jyoti. I think practice is the key, and it's very good to hear that now you are teaching students, machine learning. Very good to hear. Nice. Jyoti, I think you have a couple of questions in chat box. You can.
Okay, so the first question one Mr. Akbar has asked, in the real-time work, does a data scientist has to work directly with the production machine or a secondary node? So basically, first, before being a data scientist, we are data analytics. We are doing data pre-processing. That's a major task, because removing the NA values, binding the data itself will put a lot of ideas to you to work on the exact algorithm. Okay, so what I would say, as a data scientist, it's very important for you to be in data analytics, to go through the data, work as a layman, because scientist is just giving you a good accuracy, but to build the story behind it, so we need to know more about the data. So I would say it's required to work on the production. Okay, Miss Rajani, okay. Smart cities, yes. In reality, I would say, when I was working with Larsen and Turbo, they were doing Jaipur Smart City. So it works this way. In India, the concept of smart city is very much different from Western countries or in Asia Pacific countries like Seoul and Singapore. Okay, so smart cities would be a separate discussion altogether. I would love to share, because next week I have a presentation on smart cities. And students, if you're really keen, please join in, wherein we are talking about how the smart cities are built. It's nothing but geospatial data, but how we present it in different platforms, whether it's smart grid, whether it's CCTV, whether it's home automation, whether it's Alexa. how you're connecting with the building and how the building management works in a more sophisticated way to give a better standard of living for a human being. What is a smart city? Smart city is nothing but a place wherein people sit in their place and execute everything with a mobile. That is what gives a better standard of living. That is what creates a smart city or a sustainable city or a green city. So yes, smart city is everywhere. It's on us how we work on it and give a better output with more use of technology. Okay. Yes. Do we have use case for oil and gas industry? Okay. Oil and gas industry, I have not worked personally, but yes, there are some publications available for the oil and gas industry, especially shell industry. So if you would love to, you can connect with me offline. I would love to share with you something on gas industry. Yes, yes, there is a lot of things in geospatial. It's a tool, I would say. When I was working with Compass Group, the data was on CRM Dynamics. Now, presently, it is on Salesforce. Okay. And Power BI was the dashboard we usually represent, because Power BI mapped with MS, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Dynamics. So even for COVID, John Hopkins University, they are using Power BI dashboard. So I would say in US and also in Western countries, Power BI is very much in demand. The skill set, I was not trained with Power BI, nor in INSOFE, nor in UCL. It's a self-learning. We keep upgrading ourselves. It's not that complicated, trust me. When you can do programming, so I would say Power BI and Tableau is just on your hand tips. You should just keep practicing and learn with the use cases. The real case, I would say COVID-19. You have a lot of data available on the Power BI models, and I think by John Hopkins University, which can be downloaded for academia. By entering your ID, you can access that. I will just type in my email address, students, so that we can be in touch. And LinkedIn definitely is the right platform to be connected. I think you'll be sharing them the LinkedIn loop, so we can be.
Yes.
How can non-programmer learn any programming languages? Raghavendra, I would say that R and Python, they say it's programming, but it's not as programming like C, C++, Java. So you really don't need to be scared of, because what you are really looking for is how you can go with sorry, I was busy chatting. How you can actually achieve what you are doing. Initial days you will have challenges, but with using, even people who appoint you, they will keep you under internship, under training. So it's not necessary that whatever you're learning in an institute, you will implement the same thing in the industry. No, it's just the platform. It is all on you to attend a Kaggle, take the new data set if you have time to work on that, because that is more advanced learning compared to an industry. Industry data is different, and you have a team of people working with you. You don't need to independently handle something. So I would say programming is definitely, it is challenging, no doubt about it, but it is not impossible. We can learn. Okay, I'm trying to send my email address to all, but I don't know, it's not going.
No problem, Jyothi. I will share with everyone. I'll just copy paste here.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we have one more question from Mukesh. Mukesh Kiran, if you can answer that.
Okay. Big data likes are also required. I would say that I would not say no. It's an added skill to your CV, but usually how the big data is stored as SQL. Okay, please don't forget that these new tools are there for companies which are newly startup, but people are still working on MS Excel, on visual, that part of Excel coding, and also they work on SQL. And you should not forget the base about the big data. That is what is presently going. Yes, Hadoop, Hive, this is all. Even I was trained in INSOFE, and trust me, when I was working in the Linux server, it was not that difficult. But again, I would say practice is required. Okay, can you speak on in-stream data for geospatial? Yes, the live data for geospatial is Twitter data. So with the tweeting data, we were working on the London live data in order to do the Oyster card tracking. So I would definitely say that Twitter is the platform wherein the data is openly available. Please be very active on Twitter. Compared to India, I think Western countries are more active in on Twitter. Any other questions, please?
Yeah, I think, Jyothi, there is a question that was your previous civil engineering work experience useful becoming geospatial data scientists? Can you give some idea how your role has changed?
Mm, I won't promise you that your experience will be used because I face a lot of challenges to say I am 14 years experience, but but when you are on board, they ask you what is your data science experience, and when you say zero, you will be paid on that basis. Okay, so that again, that phase is really tough, because what you were getting as an experienced person of 13, 14 years as a package, and starting with an intern, what package you get, that's a major difference. So that, I think that phase also won't be that difficult, because it will be only keep in mind. Okay, so when you're planning for a future, when you're switching your career, please do a lot of savings, because I would say that definitely you won't be paid for 15 years what you're paid in an architect or a civil engineer. But definitely when you're a data science, and after you finish your intern, you collect about a year experience, so you will be in the same position what you were in 14 years. So you will be in the same plot. So it won't, the journey will be difficult. I won't say that, as soon as you complete your masters or data science, you will be paid in, crores or something. I would never say that. But yes, if you have the skill set, you will definitely be reaching in that position. And nevertheless, your experience never go waste, because experience add on to your management skills. The languages matter, but it adds on to the management, how you deal with your teammates, how you handle a project as a teammate. If you're a senior person, you will be given more importance. So definitely experience is a value add in any team as a data science.
So, Jyoti, were you able to utilize your domain knowledge of being an architecture in your today current role? Does it help you? If we talk about only domain knowledge.
As an architect,
Yeah, I mean, your previous 13 to 14 years of experience, did it help you, the domain expertise today, whatever work you do?
as I said, Nikita, this experience helps you in management. It helps
Hmm.
you to manage
Okay.
people. It helps you to manage a project. But technically, it won't help you, because when you're working in a software like Revit, you're doing project coordination, you are working at site building bricks. That experience, when you come as a data science, wherein you are full time on the system doing algorithms, won't
Hmm.
help. But you will know to handle a manager who is junior to you, but you will be very sophisticated, you will be humble. I think that is what experience teaches us, because with whatever experience we have gone through, it's definitely important for you to be a humble person in any organization.
Sure.
Okay, we can discuss, Ranjani. offline, how the data is there. I would like to share you some, if you drop me an email, I will share you some study on how the Twitter data is being used as a geospatial analysis. Yeah, I agree. Now also people ask for experience, but be confident, because no one has that experience to be in the industry. Okay, let me be very frank. And people who are experienced, I think if you are all INSOFE students, they are all directors. Like example, if I say Praful sir, he's a director of a company, he's an experienced person. So no one will work as a person in a company, so it's you should be confident in your projects, in your skill set. It's not required that you need to be experienced to get into data science. So it's just more, people keep asking for experience, but what's required is what study you have done, what projects you have handled, what papers you have published. So I would say that if you have time, don't while your time, publish papers, write, don't talk, write whatever you think, publish it. It's not necessary to whatever you are doing, it's a PhD or any other things. It's what is end of the day your focus is, because when you publish something new, that is what people read, that is where people understand you.
Right. I have posted Jyothi's LinkedIn URL here, the link, guys. You can follow that if you want to get connect with her on LinkedIn.
Thank you, Ankita. Phases of data science projects. I would say the phases will be the normal data pre-processing, data analysis, getting data, because getting data is not easy. I was working on a project wherein we were doing the population statistics, and I did it for UK and US, but I was trying to do it for India, because when I was in London and trying to analyze this data for India, that was difficult because no data is available in India. It's not tabulated compared to Singapore and Seoul. Definitely it was challenging, but India being so huge country, we have so much of resource, so much of data, but it's not, because of lack of digital technologies. So that can be the future. Instead of saying we have deficiency, we can always say that's a future, we can do this kind of study. So what my geospatial analysis is about, I was really not aware about this because I just started my journey as a data science. I was wondering my architecture and civil knowledge won't be that useful. But nevertheless, I tried to tune myself as a geospatial analysis, which is more dynamic, more challenging, more unique. And indeed, it has more of different institutions involved. And, there is a lot of demand, I would say. So if you start with something, always your curves keep amending, keep editing with what's the present scenario is. So we need to keep learning, need to grow. You should not just keep stuck into the same field. That's what I feel. And with my experience and with whatever I have seen till date, that's really required. And again, practice makes you perfect. So people practice is what I would say.
Fine, I think that's all, Jyoti. And if anyone wants to connect with you offline, you have shared your email ID and they have now your LinkedIn URL also. So they will connect to you. And once again, I really want to say thank you to you and truly appreciate your effort, in bringing the light or, bringing this topic or introducing this topic to our students. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank
Really
you. Thank
appreciate
you
it.
all. Thank you so much. I was expecting Dr. Sridhar or some of my faculty, because end of the day, I would also like to say, definitely when we were facing them, we were cursing. Why is he teaching so much? We were not understanding. Oh my God, it was really challenging. But trust me, they helped us. How, like when we are kids, we keep cursing. My parents are not allowing us to go there and there. So end of the day, it was our security, right? So I feel they were the one who built us in this place. So I would like to thank them and thank INSOFE definitely to permit me, to allow me, a non-programmer, to go through that journey, and my classmates definitely, who was having fun with me and not thinking that I would reach in this position. And definitely I would say that the journey was not easy, but if we have a passion, we can achieve it.
Very
Trust
well
me,
said.
it really works. Yeah.
Truly, truly said. And I will definitely convey your message to Dr. Murthy and Sridhar.
Right. Thank you.
Right. Okay, keep in touch, Jyothi. Thanks once again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Nice meeting you. Bye.
Bye.